Okay, could everybody please sit down and find yourself a seat? Okay, we're ready to get started with the presentation. Mr. Ed, please sit. Okay, let me introduce from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office, okay, our two deputies here that we are liaisons actually for our Wellington Neighborhood Crime Watch. We have Deputy May, and we have Deputy Tiso, that keeps on coming back to us. Okay. They will start with the presentation, and would you like them to hold any questions until the end, okay, that you may have, all right? And they're here to help you, and I'm so happy to see this many people here. My last count, I think we have probably 70 people here, which is great. Thank you very much for attending.
Oh, she didn't want to do it. All right, how is everybody?
Great.
All right. Well, my name is Deputy Jason Tiso. I've been with the Sheriff's Office 25 years, all here in Hernando County. I know, that's crazy.
And I can verify that.
Rita definitely can. I worked with Rita for a while. And she worked with my wife, so even better. So a little bit about me. I started the Road Patrol in 2000. I did a lot of stints in nights over here on the west side of the county. I went to community policing in 2003, stayed there for about 9 years. And in those 9 years, I worked in the high drug, high crime area of South Brooksville, as Town, stuff like that. And I had a momentary lapse of insanity, and I went to the school resource officer program and was a resource officer for Nature Coast Technical High School, which is right here on California Street, for 6 years. Once I had enough of being in a school prison, I decided that I was going to come back to community policing where I belonged. And I've been there ever since 2015, so another 10 years here. So 17 years total in community policing, where I belong with you all, educating you all, and I've been your liaison for the Sheriff's Office for your Crime Watch for a while. And now I have beautiful Deputy May as my partner. I traded her in for Deputy James Dean, who is 7 foot tall.
Right.
I got a shorter model, but way better looking.
And more hair.
Yes, Deputy Dean has retired, so if you see him out and about, be careful. Again, today's talk, Deputy May is in the process of learning all the stuff I'm going to talk about. I have been certified. You see a bunch of alphabet soup at the end of my name up there. I have been certified through the Florida Attorney General's Office as Crime Prevention Practitioner. I am also certified in the International Practitionership of Crime Prevention through Environmental Design. That's a lot of stuff to say. I sat through a lot of classes and learned a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about today. With that is always continuing education. I'll go into all that as we go. I'm going to let Deputy May introduce herself real quick before I get going.
I would say good morning, but I realize now it's good afternoon. But either way, good morning, good afternoon. So like my partner explained, I'm in the process of getting all of the alphabet soup. There's about 6 classes that are a week long that we have to go through and successfully complete. I just recently completed 1. So, yes. So within time and obviously within budget, we will be able to send the rest of our unit to more of these trainings, and I'll get the remaining 4 that are needed. So yes, it's very difficult sometimes to say, hey, we're going to be gone for a week. Obviously, it's about a $500 for the class, and it's about $600 for the hotel room. So just to send one person is about $1,000. Yeah. So they're selective as to when they send us. But I've done 17 years here at Hernando County Sheriff's Office. I'm in the middle of my 17th year right now. I am a unicorn. I am born and raised here in Hernando County. So yes. So it just seemed natural when the position came open for our community policing unit for me to step in. because I have a vested interest in the outcome and the safety of this community, right? I may not live here within the Wellington, but I live here within the county. I've seen the county grow up. I've seen the library on Spring Hill Drive where it used to be just trees, and I came home from college and I said, oh goodness, there's a whole building there. So it's very important to me that the safety of our community, the safety of our citizens, and whatever I can do to help prevent somebody from being a victim, right? So if it's a little bit of education, if it's a little bit of us sitting and chatting after a crime watch, whatever it may be, if I can pass on any knowledge that I have to our citizens to make sure that they're safe, that's the most important thing in my daily routine. So with that, we'll get started. And then like we said, please, if you have any questions, we absolutely want to answer them, but just hold off till the end of the presentation if you can. Thank you.
Okay. So as I explained before, these are the two certifications, just two separate certifications that I talked about. A lot of stuff to tell you that all the stuff that I'm going to talk to you about are definitely standards in crime prevention to keep yourselves more secure, whether that's at your home or while you're out and about in the community. Okay. I thought I did, but anyways. So the crime triangle just to kind of give you an overview of, in order for a crime to occur, someone has to have the ability, the desire, and the opportunity to commit the crime, all right, whatever that may be. Out of the three sides of that triangle, we can only affect one of them, right? And that's the opportunity to do that. I can tell you right now, 25 years in law enforcement, criminals are lazy, right? So we're going to talk about all those things as we go along. So we're going to talk about the opportunity side of the crime prevention triangle. I'm going to give this part of the talk as a little bit of a plug to our crime watch, because our crime watch here in the Wellington is outstanding. All right? And just give them a round of applause. Outstanding because there's not a whole lot that goes on inside of here. And usually if we hear things happen inside of here, it's either something that's pretty isolated, not really related to a crime spree, so to speak. But I want to say that being part of Crime Watch doesn't mean you have to drive around, that you have to do anything in particular. It's really nice that we get that and we have that with our Crime Watch members. But being part of Crime Watch is just eyes and ears for the sheriff's office to see. You guys know your community better than we do, right? You know who belongs and who doesn't belong. And you can tell us that something's not right, all right? And that is the first step in doing things. And I always tell the Crime Watch, and I've probably said it before, and they'll probably shake their heads, that you all don't know the piece of the puzzle that you may hold, all right? And I go back to 2007, 2008, we had about 40 home burglaries throughout the county, daytime burglaries, that were just kick in doors, go steal stuff in the house and do whatever, right? One little old lady said, that van doesn't belong on my street. Called it in. We got there and solved all 40 burglaries. Wow. Okay? She thought she was wasting her time. All right? She said, it's just a little insignificant van that doesn't belong on my street. But ended up solving all of them. If it wasn't for people like that, we wouldn't get a whole lot accomplished in law enforcement, because you all are the backbone of the eyes and ears of the sheriff's office. You tell us where to be and what to see, right? So at the end of the day, if you call the sheriff's office and it ends up being, I know it's a hot topic right now, but a palm frond in somebody's backyard that fell from a tree and we thought it was something else, right? You've done two things. You have gotten the sheriff's office car to come into your community to see that to show that, hey, they call about stuff, right? And you've also told the criminals that you're going to call about anything that they see, that you guys see, right? Whether it ends up being something or not does not matter, because you are the eyes and ears of the sheriff's office, and you're utilizing us the way that we need to be used. So, I leave that thought right there with you all, that you guys are doing a heck of a job, but please pick up the phone and call, because you don't know what part of the puzzle you might be holding. We may be looking for somebody that just happened to be walking around, or somebody that's driving around, and if you're out and about and you notice things, call it in and let us get out there and see what's going on. Because I tell you what, I've had a lot of opportunities to talk to individuals on the way to the jail to find out what they think and how they operate. And I can tell you, I asked them, why do you go burglarize over there and not over there? And they'll tell you, well, they call about everything, so I'm not going there. I'm going over here where nobody cares, right? So remember that. You're doing a twofold process if you call a sheriff's office. Whether it's a problem, we're solving the problem or not, you're also getting us in the area and letting people know that you all care about your community and you call. So, when we talk about crime prevention, it's not just physical things to stop people and deter crime. Crime prevention is also based in psychology. Psychology is probably the biggest part of why criminals don't do things. If they feel that they can be seen in any way, shape, or form, they're not going to commit their crime because they don't want to get caught. Nobody wants to go to jail and eat bologna sandwiches, right? So they don't want to get caught. So if they feel like they could be seen, then they won't do it. On the left here, that left picture, left. That is a cement wall in an alleyway. That is an actual painting on the side of a building, of an actual window. So what I want you to think about is this. That particular alleyway had a lot of crime because there was no windows, there's no ability for anybody to be seen. Once that was put up in the alleyway, crime stopped 80% in that alleyway because they felt they could be seen. Whether it was from the painting of people or whether that's people's eyes going to the painting, right? That is part of the psychology of crime prevention. In the middle there, you're going to see your typical inner city home. What most of you don't realize is that it was built with crime prevention in mind because of the location of the house. First of all, you'll notice that that is a house set up with stairs leading up into the house. There is also a front porch. There is also a window facing the street, looking down on the street. That is a psychology tactic that, hey, someone could be looking from that porch, from that window, down into that area. Therefore, they're going to feel like they're being watched or seen there. So that is another psychology tactic that is used and has been being used for very, very many years. The city of Tampa actually was the originator of crime prevention through environmental design, and that has become a international standard for crime prevention, and it started here in Tampa. One of the techniques that they use is taking back your area and community and showing that you guys care, right? You'll see a lot of murals like that one on the right in downtown Tampa. What that does is that draws people's attentions to that wall, correct? Which means your eyesight is going there, which means people are probably not going to do something by that wall because everybody's eyeballs are there, right? The second thing it does is shows ownership. Someone cares about this location. Someone cares about this community, therefore I don't want to be here to commit a crime, right? So psychology is a huge part of crime prevention. Obviously, the gold standard in crime prevention is going to be your cameras and your alarm systems. All right, cameras and alarm systems are super, super important, but a camera is only going to catch what it's looking at, right? So every single area that you can access, ingress and egress of your home needs to be covered with a camera, as well as a alarm system. That includes windows with glass breaks and stuff like that. You don't need all the motion detectors that you have and all that stuff. Obviously, it's the gold standard. If you put those there, it's great. Cameras are going to catch something from happening, and maybe also a deterrent for people to see, right? So, cameras are definitely that. It needs to be recorded and monitored. Alarm systems, the cameras need to be recorded up to 30 days. The good news is most stuff today that's on the market is all going to be internet cloud-based. You just have to be careful with the security of those clouds that you have all that stuff stored on. But 30 days storage, and those cameras need to be, and the alarm systems, while important, how many in here have alarm system? Okay, how many of you in here have a monitored alarm system? How many of you in here have a audible alarm system? Okay, so the reason why I asked that is monitored systems are great. You're going to pay your monthly fee, they're going to monitor it, somebody's going to break into your home, the alarm's going to go off, they're going to have about 15 to 20 minutes inside your home before we get dispatched. They're going to probably call you first. Hey, do you want us to send law enforcement? If you answer. If you don't answer, they're going to call the next person and the next person, and then when they don't get anybody, or whatever their policy is, they're going to call us, they're going to send us. Mind you, dispatch times vary depending on what's going on, right? Audible alarm. It's going to wake your neighborhood up. It's going to say, hey, there's a problem. It's going to tell the bad guy, get out of Dodge. What's the chances they're going to get anything, even if they are trying to get in? It's going to cut that down to a very minimal amount, right? So while monitored is great, and I'll never say not to get a monitored alarm system, make sure your systems are audible as well. Audible is probably more important than monitored, only because of that deterrent factor that they're going to get out of Dodge. All right, and if you have cameras, we're going to catch who it is, and we're going to go arrest them. All right, so it's super, super easy. But that's, make sure our alarm system contacts, go back to that real quick. Our alarm system contacts are checked quarterly, so every 3 months. The standard is 6 months, but I'm a little overachiever, so I like to tell you every quarter, every 3 months. And that goes for making sure your camera lenses are clean, pointed in the right direction. Make sure that's all taken care of. If you're going to have those things, utilize them properly. Don't have any obstructions in front of your cameras, and make sure your alarm system is operating properly on a quarterly basis. Now, she said 6 weeks. I feel like 6 weeks on lighting while I was at these classes. Lighting is a biggest deterrent you can, next to the other two that I just mentioned, right? Lighting, nobody wants to be caught in lighting. They want to be in the darkest place that they can possibly be. But with lighting comes a few issues. Everybody loves those little lights in the middle, right? Those are great. But what that does is it casts a light that's going to distort the image from across the way. It's going to create glare. It's going to create light to go somewhere it's not meant to go, as far as security is concerned, okay? They're beautiful, they look great, but realize it's not a security light. Security lighting has to be downward facing, similar to what you see on the left, or you're right. Downward facing, bright white light. So how do we get bright white light? I don't care about wattage. I don't care about any of that except for the Kelvin temperature of an LED light. All right, Kelvin temperature. I'm going to give you a quick class. I spent 4 weeks on this, I felt. But I'll give you a quick synopsis of what it is. Bright white LED, 5,000 Kelvin. That's how hot the LED light will burn. That is the closest you can get to sunlight. All right, bright white. If you go to Wawa at night, that's 5,000 Kelvin. All right. Who here has seen a car driving down the road with a blue tinge on their lights? Okay, that's LED lighting, but that is over 5,000 Kelvin. Think of a flame of a candle, right? Where does it burn the hottest? In the center. And what is that color normally? Blue. It's burning hot, right? Who's been by Oak Hill Hospital and seen their front parking lot at night? No? They got the wrong lighting, FYI. It's all blue in the front. So those lights are burning super hot. But then, if you think about the outer skirt of the flame is where it's not as hot, right? What color is that? Yellow, right? So, what happens when you have something less than 5,000 Kelvin temperature? You're going to have that yellowish tinge, very similar to those lights on the wall. With those, LED under 5,000 Kelvin, it's going to distort color, it's going to distort the images, it's going to distort anything that it looks at, because a blue shirt will look black under that type of lighting. All right? Whereas 5,000 Kelvin is bright white, is going to illuminate the colors and all the defining features that you can get underneath it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. I spent 4 days on that.
And you explained it in a minute.
So this is just kind of a chart. We want to, as far as security is concerned, now, granted, we have a lot of lighting that isn't necessarily security lighting, right? So take that out of the equation real quick. Security lighting. What are we trying to light? As you can see here, this is a diagram of lighting, good lighting and bad lighting. Direct downward light needs to be going directly downward, not out. If that light bulb is seen, if that LED bulb is seen over there, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Downward facing. Now, where should we illuminate? Doors, windows, all the places where people can access. Why? Because they're able to be seen in those locations from the roadway. We're lighting it for a purpose. Does that make sense? All right? We don't want light to be trespassing on our neighbor's lawn because it's not doing us any good over there, right? So we're wasting light going to a different location, which is why it's super important for downward-facing security lighting to light the ingress and egress of all buildings that we have. I figured out PowerPoint, by the way. We're going to talk about landscaping. How many in here have a green thumb? Great, you guys in the back, come to my house. Anyways, landscaping is super, super important. And what I want you to realize is this, is the industry standard for vegetation is anything lower than 2 foot high is okay. Nothing over 2 feet high. And nothing lower tree canopy at 6 foot. 2 foot, 6 foot rule, all right? Why do we say that? Because we want proper visibility from the roadway to your home. Because remember, the psychology that we're talking about is, can I be seen trying to get there? So far, we have cameras, we have our alarm system, we have lighting that's lighting all that. Now we want the vegetation not to overtake it or cast shadows on lighting. Because if you have a property that looks like that center one, or the one top right, I could spend all night. I don't care what lighting you have. I don't care what alarm system you have. I'll spend all night working on your window to get in, and nobody's gonna see me, right? Not only is that dangerous for somebody could be hiding there when you walk out your door, all right? So think about that kind of stuff. So we don't want what we call ambush points based on vegetation. If you keep something at a 2-foot level, nobody's hiding behind a 2-foot level bush. And if you're gonna put bushes in front of windows, I suggest, especially if you ever had granddaughters or daughters or whatever, bougainvilleas or thorn bushes or something like that, where they can't get into those windows. Because we'll be able to follow the blood trail to where they're going. So, but here's the thing I want you to remember. Even though the top left is a beautiful home, that vegetation is concealing some things, all right? So I want you to think about that as far as crime prevention is concerned and what we want it to look like. The bottom right also concealing some things, says that's over 2 feet tall, right? Somebody can hide behind those bushes and actually manipulate that window, believe it or not. And I found homeless people in smaller areas than that, okay? So, vegetation 2 foot high, 6 foot high tree canopy. When you stand out on the street and look into your house, can you see the front of your home? Can you see the windows? Can you see the doors? Can anybody hide behind them? That's what you should be thinking when you're doing vegetation. And keep that on a maintenance plan as well, because I've seen the most beautiful lighting in the world overtaken by a tree, overtaken by a bush. And now it's casting another shadow into your yard, and with 5,000 Kelvin, that shadow is going to be dark, right? So make sure that that's on a maintenance plan as well. All right, doors and window locks. There's a whole variety that are out there nowadays. Deadbolts, key locks, digital, internet-based. I can tell you right now, my entire home, thanks to my wife, locks down at 8:30. Every door has something on it, and I can hear it go bing, 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 and my phone goes, doors are locked. I'm like, great, now I'm outside. How do I get in? They have fingerprints on them now. They have all kinds of stuff. Obviously, that is the most important part, is having a good, secure lock on your door. All right, so make sure there is no way to have any access or play to that lock from the outside. If there is a gap between your door and your door frame, you need to start thinking about either tightening that door up, getting another door or something to make so that nobody can manipulate that lock from the outside. Hold on. Oh, she's getting fast. All right. On the right there you see windows. We all live in Florida, and probably 1 week out of the year we want to air out our houses because it's actually nice, right? It's either super cold or it's super hot out. But at nighttime, once in a while, we like to open our windows and let the air in, right? That's okay as long as nobody can get through your windows, all right? So, if you can see here, there is a little bit of a notch all the way a little bit up in that railing of the, I can't point, yeah, I know. In the railing of that window. And what that does is that allows the window to open to a certain gap, right? Those are sold at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, does not matter. You get window stops, really easy. And what that does is even if somebody does get your window open, it's only going to get it open to a crack so nobody can slip through unless they are, is that the paper Stanley? Is that what that is? Everybody remember? Yeah. Flat Stanley, right? That's what his name is. Flat Stanley. Yeah, unless they're Flat Stanley, they're not getting in there. So, locks on there so that if your windows do open, they only open to a certain height. Obviously, we want to keep our doors and windows locked at all times. 90% of our burglaries in Hernando County are unlocked car doors or windows, right? So just remember that when we're dealing with that. Window locks to eliminate the window opening to a certain degree. Door hinges. Most new construction have this figured out, but I'm going to mention it anyways for any of you that have older homes. But if you have hinges that are outside your house on your door, most of the new construction has taken care of it by the picture on the right. Those are the actual new door hinges. If you can see on the left hand of that door hinge, there's like a little tab sticking up. Everybody see that? All right. That tab, when the hinge is closed, falls into that big hole that's right there on the right-hand side. Therefore, if the pin of that door is removed, that door is not coming off because that hinge is still connected through that little piece of metal. That is new construction. Unfortunately, there are some old construction that do not have those hinges, and you'll see on the left-hand side, they sell these at Lowe's, Home Depot, and Ace as well, that you can actually drill a little hole and screw that little piece in there, and that will keep that door from being removed off the hinges. So check your exterior doors. If it doesn't have it, think about replacing or getting that little contraption. This on the left probably cost you 99 cents. So very inexpensive to do. But super important to have if you don't have it already, right? So fire departments hate that stuff. So most of our homes have pretty good front doors, pretty good back doors. However, the one weak part, and a lot of new construction has figured this out too as well, because crime prevention through environmental design has become a standard. So construction companies are starting to have to abide by some of these policies. But your interior garage door, you know that door that goes out to your garage, that it has access to your home, to your garage where you have every tool known to man that can help someone get into your home. All right? Most of those doors are hollow core doors. That means there's nothing to them. That means you punch a hole through that door, you can get to the other side, manipulate the lock, and open it. Solid core door there is just as important as a solid core door on the exterior of your home, okay? I would venture to guess no one has a hollow core front door. If you do, you need to change it. But what I mean by a solid core door is there is actually some weight to that. There is thickness. It is put together. See on the left there, it says hollow core, that's air, right? The solid core, that is actually either particle board or metal or whatever they put aluminum in them now that make them heavy. You can tell just by opening the door. If it's got weight to it, then it's solid, all right? But if you do this and it's like super light, which your bathroom door probably is, that would be a hollow core door. So replacing any exterior door with a solid core door is super, super important. They sell door viewers. Now the camera systems have the doorbells in them, the Arlos, the Nests, the Ring cameras, they all have it, storage and all that. Those are great. But if you have a door viewer, most of you all remember those little peepholes that you look through. As you can see, your traditional peephole on the bottom right, that's pretty much how much you're going to see, all right? With the new 180-degree door viewer, I call it a viewer because this is one that you shouldn't have to put your eyeball up to see, right? Because if anybody knows, you can see people's shadow in that little peephole, right? I'd rather stand back from the door to see what's going on. And they sell a viewer that's about this big around that you can actually see what's going on outside. So you don't have to be up to that door. You can be standing back and looking at those. You can get those at your normal hardware stores as well. But I would suggest if you don't have a Ring doorbell or a Nest or an Arlo as your doorbell, get one of those as well. So, obviously, I already talked about this. Lock it or lose it. If you don't lock it, you're probably going to lose it. We do a lot of commercials about this stuff, and we say it because 80 to 90% of our burglaries are unlocked doors. They're just going to go to, because like I said before, bad guys are lazy. They don't want to work. That's why they're bad guys, right? They're criminals because they don't want to work. They don't want to do the right thing. So they're looking for the right angle. So if it's unlocked, they're going to take it. What's the next one? Ooh, I gave her the opportunity. She's going to get to do this. Everybody give Ashley a hand.
Thank you, guys. And real quick, I know we've been going on about 35 minutes or so, but if y'all need a break, just please feel free to get up and move freely. Instead of us taking about a 5 or 10 minute break, I'd rather you just go as you need it, and then we'll kind of muster through this if that's okay. So like my partner explained about residential safety and what you can do to your house and what you can do to keep your residents safe, right? I want to talk to you guys about some personal safety stuff, right? And what you can do to keep yourself safe, because you're not always going to be home, right? I would like to think that you guys venture out within the community and you go places and you visit friends and you visit grocery stores and go shopping. What can you do to keep yourself safe there, right? One of the big things is when we go to parking lots. Not only do we want to kind of park a little closer to the store, shorter distance to walk, and especially if it's hot, right? It's easier. But also, there tends to be more lighting closer to the store. If you park a little bit further out, Walmart's normally pretty good about having parking or having lighting towards the back side of their parking lot. But if you go to the one up on 50, a little bit closer to 50, right? You'll notice that there's parts of that parking lot that are not as bright. We don't want to park there, right? We don't want to park necessarily where there's not lighting. We want to park closer to the store. We want that visible lighting. Not only so that way then we can be seen, but that way then you can see what's coming up and approaching you, right? You can see if somebody's starting to walk up towards you, and it's not going to be a surprise to you. If you look kind of at the bottom right, that's what we're talking about. You want to avoid that. You want to park at night. Picture on the left. What did I do?
Nothing. You did great. She's doing great. Anyways, this is also a very good example of the 5,000 Kelvin lighting.
Oh.
All right?
Mr. Light.
Yeah.
You're
Back
gonna
up.
say
Listen, I went to class. You're going to listen. Anyways, which parking lot would you rather be in? All right. On the left, that is 5,000 Kelvin lighting. That is the proper set standard. On the right, not so much. Leaves a little bit to be desired. You will notice there's some light glare on that one, though. Everybody see the light glare?
Yeah.
Can't unsee it once you know about it. You're welcome.
All right. So like he was explaining with the light glare, it's just when you look at the light and you see that it kind of shines out like a star. We don't want that. That's the glare. That's what he's discussing. I love this one. Females. We put purses all the time. Purses, pocketbooks, wallets, whatever you want to call it, however you term it, right? We put them in the buggy. And then, what do I see? We're pushing the buggy. Oh, we're going to look over here and grab something off the shelf. What's still in the buggy? Your purse. It's wide open. I have actually walked up to several females in different stores and politely tapped them on the shoulder and have educated them, right? Because what's all in your purse? Everything, yes, right? And husbands, I know you can account for this. Everything is in our purse, right? You need it, we've got it. Give me a long enough time and I'll find it in there. Why are we just sitting them in the buggies though, right? In the picture you see that they take the little child strap and loop it through. Okay, that's good. It keeps it there, it keeps it secured within the buggy. But what about zipping it shut? I don't care if it stays there. I can still reach over and I can take the contents out. So it's good that we're thinking about strapping it in, but we've got to remember to keep it closed. We got to remember to keep it shut, right? Or if we're going to wear a purse, how many have the little one shoulder strap? Okay. Yep, you're doing it right. Absolutely. Put it across your body, right? Because I can walk by, and if we're a little bit stronger, the criminal's a little bit stronger, can take that purse, can yank it right off. But if it's going across your body, now what's going to happen? If I try and take that purse, you're going down with it, right? You're causing a scene. You're causing a big commotion. Now you're bringing attention, right? Now people are going to start looking, hey, what's going on over there? What's happening? Something's happening. And so now the criminals are going to say, hey, no, we're not going to do that, right? But if you leave it unattended in your shopping cart while you're turning around grabbing coffee off the shelf, it's absolutely the best target for a criminal to just walk by, take whatever's right on top, and keep on walking, and you'll have absolutely no idea. Probably until you get home, or until you go to use whatever item it is that they took, and you're like, man, I can't find that. I wonder what happened to it. It grew legs and it walked with somebody else. We talked about the parking lot and being safe in the parking lot, right? But what's one thing that we can do while we're walking daytime parking? What's one thing as females? And I'm trying to focus a little bit more towards the females right now, because we tend to be the most vulnerable, targeted, preoccupied. Nope, I don't know who said it, but yes, absolutely, right? Because we're on our phone, or we're thinking about, hey, what are we gonna do? We need to cook dinner. Oh, did I remember to grab everything? Did I remember this? Oh, I gotta call Susie and see how the family's doing, right? We've got 100 things going on in our heads, and we're not necessarily paying attention to our surroundings all the time. But yes, we also tend to be more vulnerable. So what can we do as we're walking through the parking lot to make sure that we're safe? Look around. For those that didn't hear, she said carry a gun.
Be vigilant.
What about keys? Have them out already, yes, right? Don't be fumbling through your 5-gallon purse trying to find them. Have them out already, right? While you're paying at the register, take an extra 30 seconds. Grab your keys out at the register. Most registers also have cameras that face down that show. Yep. So if you're going to take the time to grab your keys out, do it while you're on camera. Do it while you're on view, right? Instead of as you're trying to cross the crosswalk and you're not paying attention necessarily, and you may walk out in front of that Buick that's not paying attention as well. Remember where you parked, yes. Yes, right? But not only have your keys in your hand, put them in between your fingers, right? If you're concerned that something is going to happen, or you see that there's somebody in the parking lot that just kind of raises the hair on the back of your neck, right? That is a core function of humans, right? When something just doesn't feel right, your body will tell you. Put your keys in between your fingers. Grip your keys and make a fist. So that way if somebody's coming at me, I'm gonna leave a mark, right? And if I'm not gonna leave a mark, I'm taking some of their DNA with me, right? They also make, I don't know, they're little, I don't wanna say cat, but they look like little cat ears. But it's the same thing, it goes on your keys, they've got little pointy spikes on them, and instead of your keys in between your fingers, you put your fingers through these, and it's automatic little spikes. It's just another safety tool, right? We joke in our unit and we laugh. I have acrylic fingernails. They're quite sharp on the corners. So if I can't get to my keys, guess what I have? I've got my nails, right? You've got to start thinking outside of the box. What can we do to make sure that we're safe, right? You may not have the keys. You may not have something available. You may not have sharp corners, right? Earrings, something like that. Use what you have if you don't have the ability to get your keys in your hand right away. There are courses out there that we can, as just citizens within the community, we can take, right? There is the RAD for men, there is a RAD for kids, and then there is a RAD for women. And it's rape.
Aggression defense.
Thank you. Rape, aggression, defense. And it's not going to be a tactical, hey, I'm gonna learn how to do Taekwondo maneuvers and get in a, MMA boxing ring. It's basic stuff. Like, hey, if somebody comes to attack you, what are the weak points? Right? Eyes. Right? Throat. Yep. For females, and I'll back up a little bit, this general region, right? We want to go for those areas that are going to allow us to create distance from that situation, right? We're not looking to be warriors. We're not looking for you to sit there and like I said, be the next Muhammad Ali and win a 10-round boxing match. We want to look for you to be safe, right? Create distance between that scenario, that incident, and yourself until you can call for help and you can get law enforcement there. He got pretty fancy with PowerPoint, by the way. I had no involvement with the creation of this. How many still use an ATM? Walk-up ATM. Okay, I know they're kind of phasing out a little bit because everything's online, electronic, and now with the invention of drive-up ATMs, it's kind of, you just drive up and you can talk to an automated teller, which I find quite, it is disturbing a little bit, yes. I'm talking to somebody and the screen behind them is kind of fuzzy and you're like, well, are you sitting at home in your living room and I'm giving you all my information? I feel a little safer talking to somebody person to person that's sitting behind the counter. But if you go to an ATM, it should be no different, right? Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of who else is standing there, right? If you're at the ATM, you don't want somebody coming up and standing right behind you, right? Because now what can they see? They can see everything. They can see your PIN number, they can see your account balances, they know how much you have, how much you don't have, right? But at the same time, that little hair on the back of your neck should be standing up. Why are they standing there, right? What's the reasoning, what's the purpose? If you're getting cash out, if you're getting any sort of money back, or you're making a deposit, have it in hand right there. Once you get it out, immediately put it away, right? I put it in my pocket. I don't put it in my purse. Take my purse. If you're gonna come and attack me, take my purse. If I just got cash out, the safest place for me, that cash is in my pocket. Because we're gonna wrestle for it, right? If they come up and they try and get it from me, I'm gonna know about it. I'm gonna feel somebody going in my pocket to get that cash out, right? Versus having it in my purse. But if the purse is the only option, perfect. Hurry up, shove it in your purse, zip your purse shut, cross over, should already be there, but have it crossed over, and just kind of do this. Wrap your hands around the strap. It's a comfortable position, it's a natural position for your arms to just kind of rest and hang there. But now it's another safety feature. Now it's another security measure that you're holding onto your stuff, and it shows somebody that you're paying attention to your personal property. Online safety. How many have gotten a text message that says your tolls are overdue? Yes, I just got one 3 days ago. First off, don't click on that. It is 100% a scam. So tell everybody, tell all your friends, it is absolutely 100% a scam. Do not click on it. However, it's quite convincing. If you read it, you're like, oh, well, dang it, maybe I do owe a toll, right? Maybe I went down and visited some friends and got on the parkway and dang it, now I have to pay, okay. Pay attention to those things, right? If you get an alert from your bank, hopefully your bank, or you've got it set up so your bank will send you alerts, text messages, that, hey, there's been suspicious activity. Can you verify this? Don't ignore that. Because I know we all want to ignore it and be like, dang it, that means I'm getting a new card. Now I've got to go online and transfer all the saved account information. But guess what? Somebody has your account information. They already have it. We have to start paying better attention to our online purchases, our online footprint, so to speak. When you go and make a purchase, Amazon, Target, wherever, right? How many have thought about buying a Visa preload gift card and using that card as your primary source of online banking or online purchasing? Right? Hey, I'm gonna make a $30 purchase from Target, and I'm just using Target. Just throwing that out there. I know I'm getting ready to make this purchase, right? I've got all the items in my cart, $30 purchase. So I go online, I go on to that Visa prepaid card, and I make sure that there's $31 in there, right? I go back to Target's website, I put in the Visa card number for my $30 purchase. Perfect, there you go. Now, if somebody gets that Visa card number, right, because they've hacked into Target's secure information and they've gotten my card number that's saved in there, how much money are they getting out of my Visa card? $1. Right? So instead of them getting my entire bank account and draining all my money, and now I have to wait 10 days until the bank can reimburse me, and now hopefully I have cash on hand to go out and make the purchases that I need to until I get that money reimbursed, I'm out $1. And I can dispute that $1, right? And I can get that back. But now am I struggling? Now am I waiting? Now am I trying to phone friends to help out until I can get my money reimbursed? Nope. Pretty much the same thing. If you guys, I'll tell on my family for a minute. My dad still does everything online banking transactions. He does a printed receipt and has a 3-ring binder. Drives my mom up the wall. But he prints everything out, hole punches it, puts it in the binder. What do you think he gets to do every 3 months? A shred. Yes. He then has 2 big trash bags full of shred stuff and drives my mom insane, because then she's like, well, now what are we gonna do with this? He goes, oh, well, we can just sit and we can throw it away. She goes, why did we need to print it out in the first place, right? This is an ongoing battle that they have, and I don't think she will ever win this one. He is pretty set in his ways. But if you're going to print banking information out, right? If you're going to print medical records out, if you're going to print documents out, and then decide, hey, I don't need them anymore, right? Hey, I can discard these. The time has come and gone for when I needed them. Please shred them, right? And I don't mean just tear it in half, which I'm guilty of, but shred it. Make confetti out of it, and then throw it away. I know some people will put them into burn pits and burn piles and stuff like that, which that's okay. But dispose of it properly, and don't just, throw it in the trash in a ball, because heaven forbid somebody gets that information. You've just handed them everything, right? You've handed them your banking, your medical, your social security. And I don't know if anybody's ever had to do a name change, but sitting in line at the Social Security office just for a legal name change is probably going to be the worst 3 hours of your life. And that's for a legal name change. Now think of if your identity was stolen and you're there to try and confirm with them and plead with them that you are the true Miss Rita. It's a pain in the butt and you will be there all day. So do a couple little steps to make sure that you're safe and throw the stuff away properly or shred it. I like this one too. How many in here have a laptop? Okay.
Smartphone.
Well, I'd say it's smartphone, but that's probably in your pocket. Let me see one more time, hands of laptops. Okay. Do you know the make and model and the serial number of your laptop?
No.
Do you have it written down somewhere?
No.
Neither do I, so don't worry. However, after today, I would like to think that all of you who have a laptop, who have a digital camera, who have any sort of yard equipment, right? Your edger, lawnmower, anything that has a serial number on it, or a VIN number on it, or some sort of identification number on it. Write it down, right? Those that have smartphones, I have a picture. I have an overall picture of the device, then I have an up-close picture of the serial number. In the event that item ever goes missing, it decides it wants a new home without my permission. When I go to file the law enforcement report that says, hey, this item is now no longer in my possession, I'm going to have to provide all that information to them. Especially if I have any hopes and dreams of getting it back. If I don't have that information, I'm not going to be able to provide it to law enforcement. I'm not going to get my item back. Okay? I know some of you guys are sitting here thinking like, well, hey, when I bought it from the store, they should have a record of it. They do not. Walmart will have a record one time. And that's on the receipt from your purchase. It'll be printed on the receipt. Within 30 days, that is gone from their system. So, hey, oh, I can pull that information up, or Walmart can pull that information up. They cannot. So please keep track of those items that you like, that have serial numbers on them. I know sometimes lawn equipment doesn't necessarily have a serial number per se. But what can it have? Your initials. You can etch your initials into it, right? Don't do it in a Sharpie, please, because Sharpie will wipe off, right? But get a Dremel. Get something that you can etch your initials into. Etch your birthday. Please don't do your social.
No.
Right? But etch something in there that's important to you. That's a number that's meaningful to you, right?
Your husband's birthday.
Husband's birthday or spouse's birthday, if you remember. But if not, right, use your initials and use 01. For the next item, initials 02. So on and so forth, right? And keep a record of that, because it doesn't necessarily have to be the serial number. Because if a edger goes missing, and you can tell me, oh, it's a Works edger, 20 horsepower, 20 volts, whatever the battery is. All I know is I just go in the garage and I unhook it and plug it into the blower. But let's say it goes missing. Law enforcement files a report, they check local pawn stores. There's 3 of them that are in the pawn store. How do I know which one is mine? Without the information or without some sort of personal identification information etched onto that, I have no way to say either of those 3 are mine. It could be none of them, right? It could just be coincidental. So please put some sort of personal identification information on your lawn equipment, because that's probably the biggest one that we see that grows legs and walks away without the homeowner's permission. Perfect. And I will hand the microphone back over to Deputy Diso for all the questions. Yes.
Can I just go back to, when you're in a restaurant, don't leave your purse hanging on a chair like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because someone can come and just take that.
Right, and even if, and you, no, that's perfect, right? And unfortunately,
We all do it.
I do it, yes, I do, right? But, because to me, the floor of a restaurant is probably the dirtiest place, and I really don't wanna put my purse on the floor. No, I don't. And then put it on me, and then hold it with me, and then have my family hold it. I don't wanna do that, right? But I think I heard somebody mention, put it on your knee. Right? Yep, put it across your knees. Or they even make little hooks that slide onto the table, and there's a hook that goes on the bottom side, and you can hook it on that, right? I get a Facebook advertisement, and now that we're talking about this, you guys will all probably get it as well. It's a magnet, right? It's a super strong purse magnet is what it's called, and I see it advertised for like the women's bathrooms. So you put it on the back of the door, the bathroom stall, and it's supposed to be a fairly strong magnet. I haven't tried it. I don't have any recommendations for it. I know the little table hook clip things work, and I don't know their official name, but those work. So, any other questions?
If I get a purse magnet
Yes. It's gonna happen.
commercial on my phone, I'll be mad. Yes, over here.
Yeah, it's something I've thought about a lot, and, your registration that you carry in your car.
Yep,
Has your name and address on it.
yep,
Then you have your garage door opener that's.
yep. So you bring up a very good point, and I yell at my parents all the time. Because their car's parked outside with the garage door opener to my house.
Can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Repeat the question for those.
Oh, so the question is, that was the question, right?
Well, yeah.
She didn't finish the
Your
question.
registration in your car.
Right.
And you have your garage door opener.
So registration's in your car, your garage door opener's in your car.
So now they have your.
Now they have
address
everything.
And your garage.
Yeah. Well, the other part is does anybody still use GPS that's in the car,
Yeah.
other than your phone? So here's the thing. Here's pretty funny. Even if you lose your phone, this kind of along the same line. If you lose your phone, it goes back to, do you know your serial number, first of all, because it's in your phone. You have a GPS in your phone, correct? All right. And it gives you all these cool, fancy features where you can have your favorite locations saved on there. Don't save your home as home, okay? Because I'm gonna give you funny. Because if you get my phone or my wife's phone and you hit home, it's taking you to the Hernando County Jail. Okay, I do that I hope somebody someday just does that, and it make me chuckle. But either way,
But what I would have the point is that
your information's in the car.
I started putting my registration in the trunk of the car, right near the pad. Now, if a policeman stops me, I'm gonna say, yes, I have my registration, but it's in the trunk of the car.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
So, what I'm gonna say is this, the only thing, is registering. It's gonna be really tough for us to get you out the trunk, and I'm probably gonna be like, yeah, but it's your car, just have a nice day. But I'm not a traffic guy, right? At the end of the day, whatever's safe for you, if you come up with that as your plan, that's absolutely fine. Know that, most of your information is in your car of where, of who you are and whatever, if it's on your registration. It brings up a very valid point, not to mention, it's also your driver's license. All right, which a lot of companies require now for other things. They ask you for your driver's license number. Don't ever give that out either. Social Security is way worse, but it brings up a good point. If that works for you, even if you have, does your glove box lock? No. If it does, that's another place you could put it. Center console's locked. Some of them do, some of them don't. If you want to put it in your trunk, that's fine. It'll just be. I'd love to see the trooper's face.
With a body in it.
Yeah. Whatever makes you feel secure. All right. Because at the end of the day, if it's locked and nobody can get to it, then absolutely.
Why would they put your address on it, like the Medicare stuff?
Because they usually mail it to you,
Yeah, 'cause
and it's on there.
Medicare
Yeah.
Some information on it, the
It's a very good question for Tallahassee. I like where you're going. But yes, that is definitely a area of concern to pay attention to, because now they got your address, garage door opener, phone. Who parks their car outside? My parents do. Drives me nuts. They have the garage door opener inside their car. I lose my mind. I'm the crime prevention guy for the sheriff's office in this county, and you're the one that's gonna get my house broken into. But think about that, right? You have a garage door opener in your car. A lot of these garage door openers now are all internet based. I have an app on my phone where I can open and close my garage door. I can open and close my garage door from Target, from right here. It'll freak my parents out, because she'll be like, what's that? But obviously consider not having that in your car, because that is definitely something to...
Sheriff, Patrol 1.
My radio wants to talk to me. Yes, all the way in the back.
Yeah, what's the number we should be calling to see suspicious activity?
Oh, good question, very good question. So, you can do either or. I don't really care. 911 goes straight to the sheriff's office as well, goes to the same phone. Obviously, if you don't feel it's an emergency and can wait a little bit, the 352-754-6850 goes straight to dispatch. Right, it's the same phone though that 911 rings on. So obviously, if you need to get somebody out there quicker, 911's the way to go. If it can wait a little bit, and you know what? Let us make that determination. Call 911. I don't care. I'm not the one answering the phone. Oh, we got a bunch back there.
I just want to have you touch on the fact that as elderly people, we like to leave a door unlocked so that the ambulance can get in.
Oh, just like regular? They frequent your house that much?
Okay, wait a minute, I have a
Well, listen,
flashback.
I'll tell you this right now. Fire rescue has all kinds of ways to get in your house.
They're gonna break
All right.
the lock.
The fire rescue is the best burglars I've ever met. All right, they will find a way into your house. It may delay them a few minutes, but they will get in your house. They got into our partner's car because she locked her keys in the car and we didn't want to call a locksmith. They have ways to get in, trust me.
But
They
who
will.
has an electronic keypad for their front door? Sorry, who has an electronic keypad for their front door? Hold on. I think there's a slide for it, right? So you can contact the sheriff's office. You can let them know that, hey, I may experience a medical emergency. I have an electronic keypad on my front door. This is the key code. The sheriff's office keeps that on an alert for your address. If a call for service comes to the sheriff's office or fire department, which we dispatch for both, so it's one phone number that you call and you get either of us, right? When that call for service comes over our computers, there's a little alert that's red that pops up for us and says that there's an alert for this address. We read that information, and in that information will be the door code. Or if there's an aggressive dog on premise, we can put an alert on that address that says, hey, there's an aggressive dog. So you have that option. You have a hide a key option, right? Please don't use the fake rock, because everybody knows it's fake rock.
And not on the mat either.
Yes, not under the mat. But put it somewhere, I know
First
they make
place I'm gonna look.
the fake sprinkler heads, right? Put it in the flower bed in a fake sprinkler head. And then you can notify law enforcement of that location. Again, we'll put the alert in your address, so in the event that fire rescue is dispatched to your address, we already know where your hide-a-key is at. That information isn't subject to public records request, it only comes to us and fire department in the event that there's a call for service. And I feel like you're itching to say something.
Right, I am.
All right, just so you know, I have an app on my phone, I can unlock my door right from my phone. All right? That's those ones on the left. There's all kinds of varieties and stuff. It comes on the app. Obviously, if somebody gets your phone, that's why you have your address as the jail, right? So, They can unlock the jail doors. But yes, I also failed to go over something with how many people have sliding glass doors? Yeah, I knew that. I knew that answer. Just, you know, what reminded me is the firefighters. They love those. How many of you have a wooden dowel that's sitting in your sliding glass door? Okay. So those are super simple. All I need is a little spatula or something thin to flip under there. And I had this little old lady one time that she thought she had a little dowel in there. It was going to be great. And then I grabbed her barbecue grill spatula. I put it under the door and I kicked it real quick. And when that little dowel went flying across her living room, she went. So dowels don't work as well, depending on how tight they are. I can flip it up or do whatever, or bang it out of where it needs to be. How many of you have a pin? How many of y'all's pins go straight into the door? All right, so if I have plenty of time and you have a pin that goes straight in the door, I can just bang on that door until it works its way out and then it drops on the floor. All right?
If you're gonna have the pin,
Yeah.
explain.
Okay, if you're gonna have the pin, I don't suggest you do this. I would have someone that knows sliding glass doors do this. You drill a 45-degree angle and slide the pin in and let gravity do the work. Okay? I say have a professional do it because there's glass throughout that door, and if you hit the wrong spot, you're gonna need a new door. So, super important. How many have burglar bars, the little plastic things that are on the window that flip up? Yeah, it does? So all I need is a lighter.
Oh, don't say
And
that.
I heat that up, the glue heats up, and it pops right off. So all these things look super cool, but you have to think like a bad guy on how it's gonna work, because it's used adhesive that heats to the window. So just some things, food for thought to think about. Right here. Yeah, they absolutely can. You have to make sure that your emergency strings are not close and not too long. I know that you all love to put those little fishing lures or the golf balls on the end of them and drop it so you know how far your car comes in because it touches your windshield. Well, if you can fish at the top, you can find that pull chain and you can just pull it. All right. So the longer that string is, the easier it is for them to try to manipulate that. If they have time, let's be honest, that's going to take some time. But yes, you can get into there from there. So just make sure your pull strings. And if you're going to be away for a while, there's usually slide locks on your garage doors. Keep those slid. You know, it's a little bit of an inconvenience when you come home from a long trip and you're tired at 3 a.m. in the morning, but you're gonna have to walk in, undo it, and open the garage. But at least you know that's safe for that time being. Way in the back.
What's your general assessment of crime outside our community? Is there a particular type of crime going up or something like that?
I wouldn't say any crime's going up. I would say it's been pretty much steady across the board. There's crime going on. Let's be honest. There's crime is steady, but at the same time, we have a lot of deterrents that are in the community as well. Is our crime problem the same as Pasco's? No, but and actually, I feel like we're doing better than Pasco is. The problem is that Pasco's right there. And too many times, specifically in this area, I would venture to say most of our biggest problems is Pasco bleeding over to us, and then we just kind of kick them back. But unfortunately, that is part of being closer to the county line. I'd rather be closer to Citrus, where I'm at, because we just push our problems up there. But no, crime in the area is, I'm going to go ahead and say it's either juvenile crime going around, unlock car doors, windows, stuff like that, or it's drug-related crime. Your drugs are mostly methamphetamines. I think cocaine's still out there, heroin's still out there pretty big in this area. And most crime in Hernando County, that's not juvenile crime, that's not domestic related, ends up being related to drugs in some way, shape, or form. Whether that is the dealer, whether that is the person that needs it, committing the crime to go buy it, and vice versa, or whatever. So most of your crime is that, and for this area alone, obviously the lower income housing is going to have a lot more problems because they're all stretched thin, going out and stealing and doing crime, and whatnot. So I think I answered it. It varies, and it's time of year too, when it's less populated, with more vacant homes from your snowbirds and stuff like that to go back up north for a while. Obviously, we're going to have probably people looking at houses to see if they can break in or whatnot, stuff like that. Right here.
And due to the rumors that homeless have reinfested the woods beside Farnsworth?
So as far as I'm aware, Farnsworth is still clear.
No, not
I know
yesterday.
Not yesterday?
No.
Well, I know that there's still stuff in the woods.
There's a tent there.
There's a tent there.
Yeah.
We vacated the person that was there. He was like a 68-year-old man, who was actually, the day that we went out there, it was super cold out. He was actually somewhere else because it was cold out. And he understood completely, and we gave him a couple days to get his stuff out, and he actually left us a nice little note on the tree telling us, thank you for giving him some time to get his belongings and stuff out. There is still stuff in those that I couldn't believe it. It was an open field with like 3 trees and in the tree. So yes, there is a tent still there. And matter of fact, I just was able to talk to some people on your HOA that they're going to be able to get that cleaned up for them as well. Intermittent, because the fact of the matter is every piece of vacant property that's near commercial areas, such as County Line Road, Mariner, 1950, the city of Brooksville, if there is woods, someone's probably trying to set up shop if they haven't already. All right. It's just a fact of the matter. It's always kind of been that way. It's a little bit more densely populated now, more people down on their luck. And I always say, and I'll go on my little tangent, there's 3 types of homeless people, right? There's your homeless people that are down on their luck, they lost their house, they lost their job, they have some things going on, most of the time SSI stuff, most of the time injuries, back related, something, they're down on their luck trying to get back on their feet. Then you have your drug-related people who just want to be in the woods, smoking dope, and stuff like that. And then you have your mental health. You have people that are just like, they don't understand they have a problem, their mental health, and they're roaming around. So those are your 3. 2 out of the 3 can be helped. Make sense? I have a 3-time rule, and she'll tell you. First time, I'm going to be super sweet with you. I'm going to tell you can't stay here. We got to figure out something. I'll give you resources. I'll figure out somewhere for you to go. Second time, I'm going to be like, dude, you need to get your stuff together because, things are coming. Third time, bye-bye. Because if you're not doing anything to better yourself, then any help I give you is useless. So if you ever see me deal with somebody, that's how I do it. She'll tell you that the third time is not pretty. And they get the moving. I call it to get the stepping plan. And usually I push them to one of my partner's areas. But
That's why we now have teamed up, so we now cover the same area.
yeah. So the unfortunate part is that's kind of the way society is right now. There is a lot of homeless that are out there. And some are getting back on their feet, and some are not. And we get caught in the middle because we're the guys and gals, that go out, find them and try to help them and get them back on their feet, but at the same time, they also the entity that moves them out, right? So, yes?
How often do you patrol
It's good, it's funny that you bring that up because I literally was talking about that before I went on vacation. And we have started to put that into our repertoire as far as where we're going and what we're doing.
What was the question?
How often do we patrol the tunnels? Obviously, calls permitting, us, depending on what we're doing, we're going to start frequenting that a little bit more because as people and homeless move through the area, those are going to be some areas of concern, specifically for you all. But it is definitely something, I know it's been fenced, but I know and I've heard that people have cut it at times, so we have to continue to check that to make sure that we maintain it as well. If you guys see that, let us know, because we will be the entity that gets the proper channels to get that fixed it up, because if that's broken, then we have problems, right? So, right here.
You didn't mention one of the preventive means is get a dog. The dog is gonna bark.
I love dogs.
I do too.
Yes.
But they're going to bark and.
Get a
I
big,
was
a
told-
small yappy one. They don't like those.
But I was told that, someone is coming to burglarize a house,
Yep.
is looking for.
They don't want
the
that.
least resistant, and if you have a dog, they're going next door.
I got one cheaper for you. You just buy a big dog bowl, put it by your front door, and call it Killer on it. I can tell you right now, they're not coming in. They're not even gonna try it. But yeah, no dogs, yappy dogs. How many people got yappy dogs in here? Yeah, I have one too. I punt them across the room.
I have a dog.
Doorbell rings on the door. It's like he lost his mind. I'm like, it's the TV. So, yeah. I had one in the back, way back there.
What does the 5,000 stand for in aluminum?
It's Kelvin temperature, Kelvin. 5,000 Kelvin temperature. That's how hot the,
So you deal with the heat, not the.
correct.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, suggestion with those doors that you just talked about.
Yeah.
Sliding doors.
Yeah.
You put a couple of screws up on the top so they can't get the door up over the.
Oh, you can do that too, yes. You can put it in the track and screw it down a little bit, yep. Yep, so there's no play in it. Firefighters will hate you.
What are the odds of them actually doing smash and grab breakers and sliding glass doors? I had a security film.
Oh, good. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, that's his favorite, security film.
Security film. The only product I can name 100% to tell you can buy is called Lexan. Lexan is a security film that you can put on any of your windows and it will not shatter. All right? You can use a 300-pound man with an aluminum baseball bat and take it to a Lexan and it will not break. It's going to take a very good effort for them to get that. However, if you're going to get Lexan material on your windows, which I usually suggest this stuff mostly for commercial businesses because they have usually glass fronts and stuff like that. But if you're gonna have Lexan material, they have to make sure they take the frame off the window and put it into the frame. Because if they just cut around the window and slap Lexan material on the window, when they smash it, it's just gonna break around the edges and fall out in a nice sheet and they don't even get cut. So it has to go into the frame of the window, and unfortunately a lot of tint companies take the easy way, slap it on, cut around, and then they move on, right? So it has to be into the frame of the window, Lexan material. It is, look it up, Google it, whatever, don't take my word for it. It's the only material I can absolutely 100% endorse because there's nothing else out there. There is security films, but they're not as good as that. Right back here. Yep. So we do not do that. So the question is, there are some sheriff's offices and police departments in the state of Florida who want you to get an alarm system in order to be monitored or dispatched. You have to pay a monthly fee, right? Yearly fee. We do not do that in Hernando County, and I do not expect that we will. because that just seems absurd to me that we're trying to make money off of our citizens of our county. However, I have heard that there are fees for how many false alarms there. Yeah, you're on 3 in a year or something to that effect. That's mostly for commercial businesses, because coming out to y'all's house is not as big of a deal as, say, you need 3 or 4 of us to go to a commercial business if it's going off. So, does that make sense? All right. That won't happen here as far as a yearly fee for residential, for sure.
Deputy May brought up a prepaid Visa card.
Yep, prepaid Visa card.
Can you explain the difference between having one of those and using a virtual card that's attached to your credit card?
So a virtual, like a virtual debit card?
They give you these virtual numbers that.
If it's attached to your bank, so the biggest thing would be is if it's attached to your bank account or not. If it's virtual, not attached to your bank account, and it's empty when you're done purchasing whatever it is, that's what would be the difference. Do not have it attached to your bank accounts, because that's when they just keep getting the money out if they get that card number.
Does your group talk about a phone number for people that need a loan, to register?
Caroline? You're talking about Caroline, the sheriff's office? So we do have a program here at the sheriff's office for those of you that live alone or elderly or whatever and don't have somebody that checks on you regular, maybe family's out of town or whatever. We have a program called the Caroline. That means every morning at a specific hour, they expect a phone call from you. There's some volunteers to check in and just make sure that you're doing all right, everything's okay. And if you do not call in by a specific time, they try to call you. If you don't answer, they send us out to check you. So that is a program at the sheriff's office. I believe it's online. You can look it up on our website. It's called the Caroline.
It's under citizen resources.
It's under citizen resources. See, this is why I didn't have to give the mic.
Yep, and the application is right online, you fill it all out, and it'll go to the community relations for them to set it up.
So do you go to Hernando County?
HernandoSheriff.org. Yep, HernandoSheriff.org, citizen resources, and then Caroline.
All right. Well, that concludes our program. If you all liked it, I'm Deputy